right. Hello, everyone. This is Matt, the mini bank guy, and I'm here with Sammy Bird, the artist. And so we're going to ask her some questions. So one of the reasons I wanted to have this conversation is a lot of times it's easy for adults to kind of maybe dismiss a passion a kid has, and especially with art, it's like, something you can do on the side, but you got to get a real job. But sometimes it does work out to make your passion your job. So kind of wanted to show a real life example of that. So without further ado, this is Sammy Bird. And Sammy, could you tell us a little about yourself, maybe where you're from, what you do?
Yep. I live on the Blackfeet Reservation. I actually, kind of crazy story is I didn't even start art until high school, and then I only took 4 years of high school art. I went on to get my degree from University of Montana Western in Dillon, and I moved home and I kind of got into painting again by painting for local benefits. I believe my first one that I painted for was for breast cancer. A lady who had breast cancer here at home, and I felt like doing something for her, but I didn't really know what to do. And so I thought, well, I'll just do a painting, kind of something I enjoyed doing. I hadn't done in a long time. So it actually went for the high seller. And then someone approached me a week later and was like, hey, we're actually having a benefit for my dad. Would you mind painting something? And that's just kind of how I got into art, is just painting for all these local benefits. And all of a sudden they kind of really took off, and I start selling them here and there and doing it a little more than part-time, more than a hobby. And it kind of just really took off for me. And now I'm doing it full-time as my main source of income.
That's awesome. Very cool. So was there a moment, like when you were a kid or something, where you kind of knew you wanted to be an artist?
I've always kind of been creative and stuff like growing up. But I had never up until maybe about 5 or 6 years ago even thought about being an artist. Like, it was never something, like you said, that I felt like I could make a living doing. And I always kind of make the joke that like artists don't get rich or make money until they're dead type of deal. And so I never I never really. I got my degree in horsemanship. I was planning on going into horse therapy, and during my last year of college is kind of when my art really took off. And so I did finish getting my degree, but I've never pursued the horse therapy part because my art keeps me very, very busy. So I'm thankful it does. But yeah, I growing up, I never thought I'd be an artist. In my art class, I wasn't even the best artist like in high school or anything like that. There was a lot of people that were better at art than me. And yeah, it's just kind of a really crazy journey that I've been on, but I'm super thankful for it.
Very cool. Were you kind of into art as a kid, or did you start getting in just in high school, or when did you kind of start getting into it?
So, like I said, I was kind of always really creative growing up. I always made like little Christmas ornaments with like different things around the house. Kind of always had a creative side. But my high school art teacher, Bill Hanna, is actually the one who really got me, I guess you could say, liking art, and I'm passionate about it. And like I said, that with those 4 years of high school art are really the only actual art classes I've taken. I haven't taken any through college or anything like that. And so I owe a lot of I guess my success in like what Bill installed in me in high school. He got me into art, and all 4 years of high school I was very into art. I love doing it. I feel like it's a great way to express myself, and just it's just a great way to get your feelings out on paper and stuff like that. And whether it be with paper and pen or with paints or molding or whatever you have to do, like it was just a great way, like a great break during the day to be able to go to art class and just kind of relax and regroup and get your wits back about yourself and ready to finish the day. So yeah, I would just say that I didn't really show an interest in art at all probably until I was about a freshman in high school. And then I went all the way through my senior year, and I was pretty sad to leave Mr. Hanna's art class my senior year. But then I didn't pursue art again until many, many years after. I went through college without doing hardly any art. And then, like I said, right around my last year of college is when I start painting again.
Wow, that's crazy. I did
Yeah.
not know that. You you like have a favorite piece of art you've completed? And if so, why?
Oh man, it's so hard for me to pick a favorite because for me, each individual painting has a different meaning to it. And when you spend, I guess, as an artist, when you spend as much time as you do with one piece, it almost, it's kind of crazy, but you almost form like a relationship with that painting because you spend, so many hours a day with it. You put a lot of emotion and feelings into it. And so by the time you finish it, you kind of like, I'm honestly about half sad to see him go. I'm like, oh, kind of have and so it's super hard for me to pick a favorite. But if I had one that personally stood out to me, it would be Battlefield. It's a painting that I did, and it stands out to me personally for what the painting stands for. It's we all go through this battlefield, right, in our minds and our hearts and our lives, and it may feel like we're losing, and it may feel like we're going through hard times, but we got to keep fighting, and we got to always just remember, that God's pulling for us, and when he's for us, no one can be against us. And during that time when I painted that painting, I needed that myself in my life. And so it was something that by painting that and kind of by like researching the battlefield of the mind and stuff like that, it really helped pull me out of like kind of, I would like to say, I don't want to say like a dark place, but during a time where I was struggling in my personal life. And so if I was to pick a favorite painting or one that kind of completely stands out to me, it would probably be that one. Not only for like that I like how it turned out when it looked, but kind of because of the feelings and the meaning that was behind it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's super powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, when I started painting, I don't really know what I'm gonna paint. I guess I kind of let it come to me as I go. And so when I started the painting, I was just kind of, I hadn't painted in a long time. When I started that painting, I was kind of in an area, like I said, in my life where I was kind of feeling like a little unmotivated, and I was kind of going through some personal issues then. And so when I started painting it, I was not really that into that painting. And then it's like the more I started on it, the more like inspired and motivated I got, and like the more I could feel like the light inside of me kind of start to come on again. And so it was a very powerful painting. It's something that has stuck with me. And I actually had it. It was a huge painting. It was like a 4 foot by 3 foot painting, and I had a pretty good size price tag on it. And I had it for a long time. I think I had it for a year and a half. And I honestly got to the point where I was like, I'm not even going to sell this painting. This is like something that means so much to me that, I'm just going to keep it. And then I went to the Cowgirl art show in Phoenix, and somebody just went there, and they literally seen it, and his wife just started tearing up. And I talked to her, both start tearing up, and then I was like, okay, I'll let it go. This was the right time for it. Like,
Right.
it's really amazing though, going on art shows, and or just like even not even on art shows, just people writing me and letting me know that like my paintings touched them, or my paintings, made them feel a certain way or helped them through something. Like, I guess something other than like making a living, like even if I wasn't able to make a living doing this, just knowing that I might be able to help somebody through something, or inspire somebody, or motivate somebody, or help somebody, like that's honestly what keeps me super fired up and going.
That's awesome. Yeah, oh, that's true. Yeah, it's not making money is just what enables you to continue doing it. It's not what motivates you.
Correct. I mean, I don't want to discourage anyone from doing art, but if you do it, you have to have some sort of other motive or passion behind it other than just getting rich,
Right.
because
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but it's just not something. Very, very few just make millions off of it. For
Right.
me, it's way more than the money. Like, it's definitely more about the connection you form with people, and like I said, being able to help people, or anything. For me, it makes me feel like I'm kind of like doing my part in a way when I'm able to help somebody through something through art. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. What or who inspires you as an artist?
You know, I would say there isn't really a direct person that has inspired me. If anything, it's more my community,
Okay.
or events going on. Like I said, I really put a lot of feelings into my paintings. And so it's almost like I have to feel something to kind of be inspired to paint. So like a lot of my paintings are kind of to help people get through things, I guess. So if I like, you know, for example, everything that's going on with like the politics right now or COVID and, you know, has people feeling down. And so it inspires me to, you know, try and create something to like brighten up someone's newsfeed. Someone might be scrolling and see this painting and read the paragraph that I put with it. And they might be like, wow, yeah, you know, life really isn't that bad. Or, you know, or we'll pull through this, or give them just the slightest bit of hope. Like that's what inspires me, is just being able to motivate and inspire people in even the smallest form. Can't even pinpoint like a single person that has inspired me, but just local events or stuff that's happening around the world. I've been inspired by the missing murder Indigenous women. I've done quite a few paintings on them just to get recognition and for them, and you know, help out in that sort of way. I've done a lot, just a ton of different paintings. Like it's just crazy what'll inspire me, but it's one of those things that when I see it and I feel it and I know, it's just like it almost, I see something happening in the world or something, and it's just like you want to do something, but you're like, but what can I do? You know, I'm one person, and what can I do? And so that's kind of that fire that gets built up in me and the passion that leads to my paintings.
Okay. So I guess kind of more on like the art as a business side of things. What kind of, how did you get started selling your art?
So other than doing the benefits, I actually took an entrepreneur class at Dillon, and they suggested making, like, it was just for a class, like assignment, making a business page, or if we wanted to create a business, how would we go about it? And I just did paintings because I was kind of getting into it. And that's actually where I created my Palomino Paintings business page at, was there in Dillon.
Wow.
And it was more as a class assignment than anything. And so from there, it just kind of got more likes and more likes and more likes. And I would say that, like, to this day, probably a good 85% to 90% is still done on my Facebook page as far as sales and business goes. I have a website now that I got linked up with some people who do my website for me through an art show. I sell posters and stuff off of there, and so that's really nice to have. And then art shows, before COVID hit, art shows were a really big like networking, selling point for me too. And I'd go to an art show about once a month. Sometimes during the winter months or Christmas, I would hit about 2 art shows, 3 art shows a month, you know. And they're great for selling stuff and networking. But if I were to give anybody any advice on kind of trying to get your stuff out there, I would say definitely social media is free advertisement and it's free, you know, publicity. And so I would start there and kind of build up from there.
What has been the hardest thing for you about doing art as a business?
There's probably 2 things that have been equally as hard for me, and one is managing money. I had never been one to really manage my money, but being an artist, you definitely have to, because you'll have some high months where you, like, you know, you're making all this money, or just like, what do I do with all this money? And then you'll have a couple months where you just flatline and you're like, oh. so managing money, it definitely has come into play. And as far as like kind of figuring out, well, you know, I spent this much on art supplies, my canvas was this much, I spent this much time on this painting, so now what do I have to charge for this painting to kind of pay myself in a way? That has been something that I never really thought that much into, but it does make a big difference when you're trying to keep your head above water in a business. Little things like that you really don't think of, like charging by the square inch of a painting and stuff like that, is something that I've had to learn the hard way, I guess that you can say. I did not manage money, and I'm still honestly not the best about managing money, but I'm at least a lot more aware now, and I'm working on it. The second thing that I would say that has been kind of the hardest about doing art, and this is going to go for anybody who's out there who has a small business, is you almost have to have thick skin and not let negative comments stick with you. I mean, I've been to shows where people have said not necessarily mean things, but they've given me, like, I guess you could say, very critical advice. And and you just gotta have thick skin and shake it off and know that like your form of art might not apply to everyone, but it'll apply to someone. You know what I mean? It might not be for everybody, but if people, you know, don't like it, then they don't like it, and you just gotta move on and keep painting and paint for yourself. You know, paint for others. Like you just can't let the bad comments stick with you. You just really have to shake them off and keep moving forward, because if you just can't dwell on the negative, and especially on social media, because everyone has something to say on social media all the time, you know, and a lot of times it's not super positive stuff. And I've been pretty lucky that no one really says anything bad on there, but I have had comments on there that almost just like grind your gears, and you know, you think about them, and the best thing to do is not to let them get to you, and you just got to keep, like I said, shake them off, pretend like you didn't even read it, let it go, and just keep doing you, because really the negative comments I've come to find out aren't really necessarily about you. It's more about the person that's saying them.
Right. Yeah. That's really good advice for any business.
Yeah, and I guess that could go for all forms of life there, not just
Right.
in art.
That's kind of maybe the negative side. What do you enjoy most about selling art?
Oh, definitely the freedom that it gives me. I honestly can't tell you how blessed it makes me feel to be able to do pretty much the two things that I love the most all the time. Like I get to ride all day and then paint whenever, you know, and that's my living. You know, it's honestly really unbelievable that I don't have like a 9-to-5 job. I have so much freedom in being my own employer and stuff like that. I mean, there are demands, but the benefits by far outweigh the negatives, I guess you could say, as far as being your own boss and being able to make your own hours and stuff like that. I love the freedom that it gives me being an artist, but more than anything, I love the changes and the hope that I bring to people. I mean, like I said, when people tell me like, you know, that they had been struggling and then they seen one of my paintings, and especially at art shows, I can't tell you how many times people have came up and just like started to tear up just by looking at the painting, and then after they read the description behind the painting, seeing their reaction, then that for me is priceless, and that for me is like 110% what keeps me painting. It's just that alone. Like even if I was not making any money doing this, I would still want to do it just for the fact that, you know, every 1 in 100% that might happen, you know what I mean? And it's a really, really great feeling. And it's kind of crazy because I don't know why I have been so fortunate in this art journey. I can't really, you know, I like I said, I know a ton of better artists. Like I went to some schools and went and drew horses with the students, and some of the students are better artists than me. You know what I mean? It's so funny, but I'm just super, super thankful for everything that I've been blessed with and this journey that I'm on. And I hope that I can keep doing it for as long as possible. And like I said, even if it turns out to something where, you know, you have to get a real job or something like that, I still hope that I will be able to paint and just try and make a difference for people.
So this video is going to kind of, I think, primarily be targeted at middle school students. So like if you know, there's a middle school student that's pretty serious about their art, maybe they, you know, want to be a professional artist, maybe they just want to just do really well at it, or, you know, just love art. What's, you know, maybe a word of advice you have for them?
I would say stay passionate about it. Like I said before, don't let any negative comments just deflect you from doing what you're passionate about. The best thing about art is there's no right or wrong way to do it. Your art is your art, and whatever you put down on that canvas, it's art. And no one else can tell you it's not, and no one else can tell you if it's good or bad, because it's yours. That's your uniqueness. And, you know, I would just say just stay passionate and keep grinding. As well as like not letting the negative words get to you. You also have to have a pretty strong work ethic, and just keep painting and keep expressing yourself. Keep doing what you love, and if you inspire others along the way, that's amazing. I would say if you were very serious and wanted to become a professional artist, make an art page on Facebook. Like I said, it's free publicity. And just start small, you know, get your stuff out there. Art is a lot of networking. It's a lot of people who you know and getting in here and getting in there. You might get denied to this art show, but apply to this one, you know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, I would also suggest, like, if you get enough stuff built up and it's your own art, maybe go to some local businesses. I know that COVID's going to kind of mess with that, but like if you could get your stuff in some local restaurants or just somewhere where it would be seen, even the bank or just any local place, get it out there to the public, because your stuff might be really awesome, but not a lot of people are going to see it hanging in your house unless you don't want to sell it. You know, if you want it for yourself, then that's fine too. But if you're looking at it on a business side of things, I would say just get your stuff out there as best as you can. And being in middle school right now would be like a great time to kind of start building on that, where you don't have to have everything. You know, you have a ton of time to build clients. You have a ton of time to build a fan page or whatever you want to say. You know, just start small and just keep on grinding through it and keep on staying passionate.
Well, thank you, Sammy, for your time.